page is adapted from the essay Were Dinosaurs Dumb by Stephen Jay Gould. The discovery of dinosaurs in the 19th century provided, or so it appeared, a quintessential case for the negative correlation of size and smarts. With their pea brains and giant bodies, dinosaurs became a symbol of lumbering stupidity. Their extinction seemed only to confirm their flawed design. Dinosaurs were not even granted the usual solace of a giant, great physical prowess. Dinosaurs have usually been reconstructed as slow and clumsy. In the standard illustration, Brontosaurus wades in a murky pond because he cannot hold up his own weight on land. So these first two paragraphs describe an old view of dinosaurs, something that's now seen as outdated, but what used to be the norm. And that's the idea that dinosaurs were these large, lumbering, slow, stupid animals, that because their brain was small compared to the rest of their body, they must be unintelligent, very unintelligent, and their bodies must move awkwardly as very clumsy animals. So that's the old view. Let's read on to see what newer views are on dinosaurs. Dinosaurs have been making a strong comeback of late, in this age of I'm okay, you're okay. Most paleontologists are now willing to view them as energetic, active, and capable animals. The Brontosaurus that wallowed in its pond a generation ago is now running on land, while pairs of males have been seen twining their necks about each other in elaborate sexual combat for access to females, much like the neck wrestling of giraffes. Modern anatomical reconstructions indicate strength and agility, and many paleontologists now believe that dinosaurs were warm-blooded. So here's the new view. Now paleontologists believe that dinosaurs were energetic creatures, that they could move gracefully, just like modern animals, that although they were large, they were quite capable and well-suited to their environment. So there's been a movement from an old picture of dinosaurs as clumsy and stupid to a new picture of dinosaurs as energetic, active, and capable. The idea of warm-blooded dinosaurs has captured the public imagination and received a torrent of press coverage. Yet another vindication of dinosaurs' capability has received very little attention, although I regard it as equally significant. I refer to the issue of stupidity and its correlation with size. The revisionist interpretation, which I support, does not enshrine dinosaurs as paragons of intellect, but it does maintain that they were not small-brained after all. They had the right-sized brain for reptiles of their body size. So the author here introduces revisionist thinking about dinosaurs. So revisionist means that they're revising, they're changing the old concept. So the old concept was that dinosaurs had small brains. The new concept, the revisionist concept, is to say that no, dinosaurs had right-sized brains. This line is very important in the passage. Right-sized brains. That means that the size of the dinosaur's brain was appropriate for an animal of its size. So instead of thinking about them as small-brained, we should think about them as having the right brain for their type of species, for their type of animal. I don't wish to deny that the flattened, minuscule head of large-bodied Stegosaurus houses little brain from our subjective, top-heavy perspective. But I do wish to assert that we should not expect more of the beast. So here, the author is saying it's not fair to compare a Stegosaurus. This is a specific kind of dinosaur that had a pretty small head but a large body, so relatively seemed like a small brain. But the author's saying we can't look at this animal and think about it the same way we would think of a human. Of course, humans, we are the most intelligent, so we are used to comparing intelligence relative to ourselves. But we should instead think about, does the Stegosaurus have a brain that's suited to its body? And the author says yes, it has a suitable brain, so it's right-sized for this particular animal. Let's read on. First of all, large animals have relatively smaller brains than related small animals. The correlation of brain size with body size among kindred animals, all reptiles, all mammals, for example, is remarkably regular. As we move from small to large animals, from mice to elephants, or small lizards to Komodo dragons, brain size increases, but not so fast as body size. In other words, bodies grow faster than brains. And large animals have low ratios of brain weight to body weight. In fact, brains grow only about 2/3 as fast as bodies. Since we have no reason to believe that large animals are consistently stupider than smaller relatives, we must conclude that large animals require relatively less brain to do as well as smaller animals. If we do not recognize this relationship, we are likely to underestimate the mental power of very large animals, dinosaurs in particular. So this paragraph outlines even deeper that revisionist thinking about brain size compared to body size. So the author is saying that for all types of creatures, if we look at very small ones, so let's say a mouse, the brain to body ratio is pretty large, so the brain is big relative to the body size. As we move up to larger animals, for instance, something like an elephant, that brain to body ratio goes down, so the brain is smaller compared to the large body. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the animal is less intelligent. So for instance, compare a mouse to a human. Of course, a human is more intelligent, but a human's brain to body ratio is smaller. So the author here is pointing out it's not fair to judge dinosaurs by that brain to body ratio and say, oh, they have small brains, because that's the same trend we see everywhere. So it's again supporting the idea that dinosaurs have right-sized brains. Their brain is the correct size for their type of animal and their mass. If behavioral complexity is one consequence of mental power, then we might expect to uncover, among dinosaurs, some signs of social behavior that demand coordination, cohesiveness, and recognition. Indeed, we do. And it cannot be accidental that these signs were overlooked when dinosaurs labored under the burden of a falsely imposed obtuseness. Multiple trackways have been uncovered with evidence for more than 20 animals traveling together in parallel movement. Did some dinosaurs live in herds? At the Davenport Ranch, sauropod trackway, small footprints lie in the center, and larger ones at the periphery. Could it be that some dinosaurs traveled much as some advanced herbivorous mammals today, with large adults at the borders, sheltering juveniles in the center? So here the author is given a couple examples of fossilized evidence in the footprints of dinosaurs that show them as social animals. They moved in groups, and they even had complex behavioral patterns, for instance, protecting the young in the center and shielding them with the larger ones on the outside. This is very similar to modern animals. Now, this fossil evidence has been around for a long time, so why did paleontologists originally think dinosaurs were stupid and lumbering, incapable? The author's claiming it was some bias, so the paleontologists had a wrong picture in their head, so they ignored some of the fossil evidence in favor of promoting that specific picture they had in mind. Now, looking at the evidence more clearly, new paleontologists can see that dinosaurs were in fact capable, social, intelligent for their size and for the type of animal, which is very different than the older picture. But the best illustration of dinosaurian capability may well be the fact most often cited against them, their demise. The remarkable thing about dinosaurs is not that they became extinct, but that they dominated the earth for so long. Dinosaurs held sway for 100 million years, while mammals, all the while, lived as small animals in the interstices of their world. After 70 million years on top, we mammals have an excellent track record and good prospects for the future, but we have yet to display the staying power of dinosaurs. People on this criterion are scarcely worth mentioning. 5 million years, perhaps, since Australopithecus, a mere 50,000 for our own species, Homo sapiens. Try the ultimate test within our system of values. Do you know anyone who would wager a substantial sum, even at favorable odds, on the proposition that Homo sapiens will last longer than Brontosaurus? So here, the last two paragraphs, the author is pointing out something very important. The author points out that dinosaurs lived and ruled the earth for over 100 million years. That's a very long time. Mammals, the whole species of mammals, has only existed for about 70 million years. And people, human beings, the author says, are scarcely worth mention. Why is that? That's because we've only been around for 5 million years, or, if we want to be very specific, 50,000 for our species, Homo sapiens. The author also mentions here another type of early man, Australopithecus. We don't get a lot of information in the passage about what this word means, but we can interpret a little bit. So 5 million years since Australopithecus, a mere 50,000 for our own species, Homo sapiens. This implies Australopithecus is some early form of mankind. So Australopithecus is an early type of human being. Homo sapien is the current type, so what we are currently, Homo sapien. Australopithecus, older version, Homo sapien, current version. But even considering both of those, it's been a very short amount of time compared with dinosaurs. Therefore, dinosaurs should not be viewed as unsuccessful. They should be viewed as very successful. Even though they went extinct, they lived for quite a long time as the dominant species on the earth. So if we're going to judge fairly, we should be more skeptical of mankind, of ourselves, and how long we're going to last compared to the 100 million years of dinosaurs.